Hello guys, Pat here. Welcome to a video about some Unity assets. It's basically Unity's asset store Black Friday sale, even that it's Monday. It's some of the top Unity assets are at 50% off, and that's actually a very good deal for a lot of Unity assets. So I decided to actually make a video. Now, but if by any chance you want to check this list yourself and you think this video is useful and whatnot, click the link in the description because it has, like a small affiliate link, and if you buy something, I will get like a small cut. Again, only if you think this video is useful. So actually, let's go. This is like at the first glance, these are the Unity assets that are right now on sale, and there are a lot of useful Unity assets. So let's actually go. I will try to talk more about the assets that I actually know of. Let's actually start with Amplify Shader Editor. Those guys from Amplify Creations have been creating a lot of amazing Unity assets, and actually the Amplify Shader Editor actually got an award for the best tool this year, as you can see, and it's actually kind of like a new asset. I believe they started to the first version came out in actually last year in September 2016, basically. So they have like 1 year and a little bit. That's when the first version came out, and right now this shader editor is really, I wouldn't say complete, but it's like a very feature-rich tool. Let's put it like that. And at this price, it's a steal. And one of the many complaints that artists have when it comes to Unity is basically the fact that you don't have a material editor, a shader editor. What Amplify Shader Editor is trying to do, it's trying to mimic a little bit the Unreal Shader Editor, basically. So with this tool, you can actually create beautiful looking shader only with nodes, as you can see here, and this is actually very beautiful and very nice, and it is something that I would really like to get into it. Look how beautiful this material is. And those guys have been adding like a lot of updates with a lot of features. Recently they have added a template support, and let me actually show you something else cool. It's not on sale because it's free after all, but this is something that I've been doing with the shader itself. It's like a fake interior. As you can see, you kind of have like a depth, right? Like you actually have interior there, but nope, it's actually faked interior made with Amplify Shader itself. I remember it that they have a tutorial on how to do it, and now they actually released it. So let's talk about Playmaker. And speaking about it, I think this video will be a little bit long. Playmaker is actually one of my favorite tools. I've been using it for at least 2 years, and unfortunately at this time I still have no videos about Playmaker. Shameful for me, shameful. They actually have a forum, so every time I've been having problems and whatnot, I've been going on the forums to ask questions, and there are people who are helping you. They also have a Discord channel. Again, you can find help there, and not only that, but there are plenty of tutorials online already, because if I remember correctly, I think Playmaker is kind of like the most popular Unity asset right now. As you can see, it also got released a lot of years ago. So basically what is Playmaker? It's this visual state machine tool. You can make things happen visually without knowing how to code. However, you still need to know Unity, and you still need to know how to approach things logically with Unity. But basically, you will think like, let's say that I want to, whenever I press space, I want a sphere to change its color, right? And starting from this point, I know when I press space, you can actually, I don't have Unity open right now, but you can actually just look at the actions list, and Playmaker has a shit ton of actions already built there. That's why I say you don't need to know how to code. And you get key down, or and you look for space, and when you have space, when that space is detected, you have like an input there to put that you are going to go into a new event. Like basically here, go clash idle, let's say this is an event, and when this event gets triggered, you will go and do this, and you simply go to a new state, and in that new state you have the change material, and you link it up with the sphere that you want to change the material, and you link it up with the material that you want it to be changed, and just like that, bam, you have changed the color of the sphere when you press space. Again, it's an amazing tool. I've been using it myself. I actually let's actually go to my portfolio real fast. It's just a small screenshot, but basically this is how it looks. It's a really small logic for a loader. Basically it loads, it's checking if a file exists. If not, it's displaying one button. If it exists, it's displaying a play button basically, and then it's going to wait for you to click one of those buttons. And if you click the download button, you will go here where it will download the file, and when it's done, it will update the whole thing again. You also have a button to delete, and it will go to this state where it will do an action that will delete the file. So anyway, I don't want to talk too much about Playmaker, because I could talk about Playmaker for hours, because it's an amazing tool. What else? Let's talk about Gaia. I actually have a tutorial about Gaia. If you go to my website, I think it's already on the page too, but you can click here, tutorials, Unity, or you can just go bottom here and write and you will search for it. I have like a pretty long tutorial about Gaia on how you can create. Basically, this terrain has been created procedurally. Everything was randomly generated here. Everything, the trees, the terrain itself, and it was beautiful. And as you can see, I have like a long video where I explain exactly what Gaia is doing. But basically, if you are using Unity terrain, this is how you will make terrain. While with Gaia, it has a lot of useful tools that it will allow you to stamp. As you can see, those are the stamps of the terrain, and Gaia can actually take those stamps and randomly place them with various values of intensity and so on, as you can see here. So I do recommend you to check out Gaia if you want to create beautiful terrain, basically. And also check my tutorial, because I do get into a lot of depth there. Let's also talk about briefly, I haven't used this one, but Mirza Beg, hopefully that's how you pronounce his name, created those beautiful effects, and they really look amazing. And with $20 for this, it's really looking amazing. But I do want to talk about Easy Save. I haven't made any video about it, but I have been using it a couple of times. Even that, basically, Easy Save allows you to create a save and load system. You want to give the ability to save the game and to load the game. You need, well, you don't need Easy Save. You can code it yourself, but it's depending on the features you need, it's going to take you a long time. But Easy Save actually has a lot of amazing and useful integrations. It's also integrated with Playmaker, and Joel, the asset creator, has been incredibly useful for me. I was posting on his forums, and every time he came and helped, and even at one point he created a custom Playmaker action that I required. Basically, if this I will go back to this small app. As you can see, it has check file exists. Basically, I was using a Playmaker action that Easy Save has to check if a file exists in a particular folder, and if not, I was displaying a download button, and if you click the download button, I was using Easy Save Playmaker action to download a file from the web, and that was like really it's not like this classic intent for Easy Save, but I was able to do this other thing using Easy Save, and this was great actually. So yeah, it basically allows you to save and load your game you will set up what variables you want to be saved. They are being saved into a file. You can also encrypt that file so people cannot tamper with it and give them more money and so on. Also, Joel has been working right now. The version is 2.3, but from what I know, Joel is working on Easy Save 3, which will actually give a lot of improvements. Now let's move forward and talk a little bit about Aquas, CTS, a little bit about Enviro. Oh man, this video is going to be long. I've only used Enviro a little bit, but it's a pretty beautiful environment system basically. You can drag and drop some stuff and you can easily change on how your scene is looking. It also has integration with Gaia, and one of my goals is to actually make a tutorial about Enviro also, and showing you how it looks with a terrain that we created. I mean, I created, but we created it together with Gaia in my other tutorial. And it has clouds, it has a raining system, it has a way, I believe, to randomly show weather. And as you can see, the version 2.0 just got released pretty recent. I need to talk with the developer Hendrik soon. So yeah, this is Enviro. Now let's talk a little bit about CTS, Complete Terrain Shader. This is another asset developed by Adam, the developer that developed Gaia. So again, we are talking about Gaia, but CTS is a shader that, funny enough, this shader was created using the Amplifier shader editor, from what I know. The Unity Terrain shader looks a little bit like Like, for example, you have a texture on the terrain, and if you are at ground level, the texture looks fine because the tiling you set it up at so it doesn't look like the texture is repeating itself. But if you zoomed out, the Unity terrain shader doesn't know this, so you will still see the same width basically. So you will see the tiling that gets repeated basically. I think you can see it here a little bit. So one feature that this terrain shader has, basically from your viewpoint, he is dynamically changing the tiling of the texture the further away you look. For example, it's actually a really complete shader with a lot of I will make a video about this soon again, because it's a shader. And let's look at this video real fast. Maybe you can see. I want to show you the options basically. It's kind of here on the left, on the right. We have texture settings where you can set up the textures, and this is, I believe, one of Adam's tutorials. And yeah, there are a lot of settings to make this looks to make your terrain look amazing. So again, if you're working with terrain, you want to check out CTS. Now, if you're working with terrain, you might also need some beautiful water, and this is where Aquas comes in. This is another asset that is on my list to make a video. I've been using it a little bit, but again, I didn't have time to make a video. So hopefully soon. And Aquas, actually, it's really easy to set up. I've been seeing some previews with Aquas 2.0 and it's looking amazing. And it's really easy to set up and it's really looking beautiful. And you also have some of these underwater effects that makes things a little bit wobbly. And even an effect, right, when you are coming out of the water, you can see some on how the water gets down from your eyes. And yeah, Aquas actually looks amazing, and for this price, again, it's a steal. Let's move forward. Chronos, I haven't played with it, but it's basically a time manipulation asset. Let's look real fast. Dynamic Decals is also on my to check up list, but it's allowing you to create decals. Map Magic, I believe it's also on my list. MMORPG. Why is the internet working so poorly? Noob Toots, it's also a guy that created some really beautiful tutorials, and I got inspired by one of his tutorials where he created a small Plants vs Zombie clone with only some mechanics, and I created kind of the same thing with Flow Canvas, which is a visual scripting tool. But basically, this is kind of like a template that will allow you to create your own MMORPG. I haven't played with this, but I have on my list the EU MOBA, which allows you to create a MOBA system. This is something it's not on sale right now, but this is something that I will actually cover at one point. Well, so this is basically dynamic decals. There was another decal system, Easy Decal, but at one point this wasn't upgraded in some time. But right now I see it again being updated, which is one of the reasons why, from what I see, it's on sale, because Unity doesn't put assets on sale if they haven't been updated. So I'm happy that this asset is again being, well, I wouldn't say that it wasn't being developed anymore, but back in September, I believe, the last update was in February, and I was like, there are some problems with this asset. But right now I see that he updated, so that's good. But anyway, dynamic decals, it allows you to create decals, and that's great because Unity doesn't have a feature like this in. So what else should we talk about? World Streamer, Puppet 2D. Oh, this is an animation pack, and again for this price, it's amazing. I will actually open more assets because the Unity asset store is working pretty poorly right now. Ultimate FPS, it's also at a really good price. Opsiv has been developing this asset, also this behavior designer, which I haven't used, unfortunately. But I'm using Node Canvas, which is not on sale, unfortunately, for you. Let's also look at the second page, because this video has been going on long enough, and oh, this asset is also looking good. Time of day, Slate. Oh, so yeah, I think these are the assets that I will talk about. Okay, the RPG character mechanism animation pack. It's a huge pack of animation. I've been checking this for some time. It's pretty expensive, but for this price it's even better because you do have a lot of animations, and if I remember correctly, those guys have more packs with animations. Yeah, I was checking some of the other assets that they actually have a lot of animations. So yeah, this is something that you want to check up if you are having, you know, like a third person character, basically. So Colorful FX, another asset that is pretty popular. It basically allows you to, using those variables, let's put it like that, it allows you to create color adjustments, or you can just make it look like this, again, by using color adjustments, or you have kind of this getting drunk effect. So there are a lot of camera effects that you can create with Colorful FX. And this is kind of like a painted shadery, like this is kind of like you know, when you run, or maybe when you're on drugs, you have this this effect. So this is also a useful asset. Another tool by Amplify Creations, Amplifier Occlusion. People have been talking good things about this asset. Again, 5 stars out of 135 assets reviews. Anyway, Puppet 2D, another asset that has been pretty popular. It allows you to create kind of like bones for your 2D characters, as you can see here, and then you can animate those bones. And for $50, that's also a really good price. I'm not talking too much about those because I haven't used those in particular too much. However, I've been playing a little bit with realistic car controller. I have it. I will cover it soon. But I've been amazed on how fast and simple it is to just have a car that works, and it's working realistically. Because you know the realism is a bit subjective when it comes to to video games, right? And it depends on your game. Like if you want full realism, it's probably a lot of years of work, but there are a lot of settings that you can change, as you can see here with this car controller, and it also comes with this car. And if I remember correctly, there was yes, some other cars, and they behave differently. Also, when you brake, you are getting those decals on the road and some particles on coming up from the wheels. And that's also nice, and it's also pretty optimized that it's actually working pretty well on mobiles too. And it also has like a small AI controller and UFPS support from what we see here. So yeah, this is like if you want to create a car game, realistic car controller is your assets to go. CCG kit, it's an expensive asset, but now that it's on sale, it's more affordable. If you want to create a car game, you might want to check this controller. I haven't played with it because I don't have it, but it's I have a thing for card games, and whenever I see assets like this, I'm getting like all jiggly and like, I wish I would have this. But it supports multiplayer, and it supports like a way, from what I see here, to create cards from an interface. So the logic, probably the logic behind this whole thing, it's actually pretty well done. So that will allow you to create zones, card types, card strategies, and that's actually very important when you are creating a card game, because all those subclasses and classes and whatnot can be very challenging to create. Camera controller. This is also a useful asset that I've been checking out. I don't have it, but it seems to be a little bit more complete, and it's also like having like a pretty nice integration. It supports third person and first person, if I remember correctly. So that's I mean, it's first person and third person here, so it seems to be like kind of like a complete asset. So yeah, props to them. Befio has also created this asset where you have a lot of UI elements, and with those UI elements you can create your own UI depending on how you want it to look. Those guys from PolyQuest, from Polybox, they have like a lot of models, and the environments that they have here, as you can see, this asset is very, very expensive. It's more affordable now that it's on sale, but yeah, the environments that those guys have are very, very beautiful. Time of day, again, one of those skyboxes things where it allows you to change the time of day. Haven't played with it too much, hopefully soon. And Cinematic Sequencer is a tool developed by Paradox Notion, Nuveyan, the same guy that created some other assets that I've covered in the past. It allows you to create, it's kind of like a cutscene system where it allows you to move the camera, frame things better, create easy in and outs on how you animate the camera movement, and even some other characters you can make them move on a path, if I remember correctly, and interpolate animations. So yeah, this is also pretty useful. Basically, Nuveyan has been creating Node Canvas, which is another asset that I hope to cover soon, and Flow Canvas, which is a tool that I've been using a lot, and I actually have some tutorials with these visual scripting tools, and he just released a new version with a lot of improvements, and I can't wait to go in and check this out. Again, this asset is not on sale, but I'm just mentioning it right now. And Node Canvas, it's a behavior designer 3. So anyway, this is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Again, if this was useful for you, click the link in the description below. And hopefully by the next year, I will have more videos about some of those assets, because I actually own some of those assets, and I'm now slowly starting to make tutorials on them. But again, it's kind of like a time-consuming process, because I need to invest some time on learning the asset myself, find some challenges with the assets, because whenever I'm encountering problems, that's when I actually find I'm searching and finding proper answers, and that way I can make the tutorials more interesting. So again, thank you guys for watching this. See you soon. Goodbye.